Dr. Erin here, and today's episode of your toxicity coaching is sweeteners. And I wanted to just briefly reiterate how toxic artificial sweeteners are. So when we talk about sucralose, aspartame, all of these Sweet and Low, Splenda, these artificial sweeteners in the brightly colored packets that their claim to fame is there are no calories. Those really concern me. So the no-calorie sweeteners may not contain calories, but they actually can cause you to hold on to fat. So like I said, at the toxicity workshop, when you consume those things, they do lodge themselves in your cells, and your body's protective mechanism is to sequester them, and that just means to keep them away from your organs so that they don't cause harm. And the downside to that is that they're sequestered by fat. So, a lot of you went through the 30-day challenge, weight loss challenge, prior to starting the toxicity challenge, which was 15 days of just detoxing, and found that you're actually losing more weight now that you've begun the detox than you did in the entire 30-day weight loss challenge. And that is probably because you're liberating a lot of these toxins, not necessarily from artificial sweeteners, but toxins that have just accumulated. And now that you've liberated those, the fat is beginning to be used for energy, and it's melting away the way it should be. So that's something interesting on that note. However, what are you to do? Because we have also discussed that sugar is actually can be very toxic to your body as well, and it can lead to a whole host of chronic conditions. Diabetes, heart disease, cancer are all now directly linked to sugar consumption, not to mention brain degenerating diseases like Alzheimer's and dementia are now being linked to elevated insulin levels, elevated glucose levels. So this is not something we want to mess around with, especially not long term. So with our family, we label read. We know exactly what is going into our bodies, and we've actually become very, very meticulous about this. And it's hard when our kids go to preschool, or we're at church, or as a whole, as our community as a whole, we'll have parents come in and say, well, they give my kid this at school, or they have this at Sunday school. I really have no control over it. So we've gone around all of those obstacles and just made sure that we bring in the food for our kids because we know exactly what's in it. And the thing that we try to stay away from the most is sugar or these artificial sweeteners. So anything that we do, if we are required, if we're baking, or if it's a drink maybe that we want to make sweeter, like our coffee or something, we'll just use healthier, all-natural sweeteners. And the one that I've found to be the cleanest and the best for the body in terms of a sweetener, in that it's not going to spike your blood glucose levels, is stevia. This particular stevia brand is New Naturals. It's just pure liquid stevia. So when you go to the ingredients, all that's in it is just stevia. So I like this because it's in a glass bottle. Like I said, the actual eyedropper is actually glass as well, so that's not going to be leaching toxins into the sweetener. And I'll use this in any beverage that I have. Coffee, if I like my coffee sweeter, I'll add a little bit of this. A little goes a long way. I'll bring it with me in my purse. So if I want to make my daughter lemonade if we're at a restaurant and I don't want her to get the lemonade that they're serving, I'll just ask for a bunch of lemons and, in water, and then I'll add this, and that's lemonade for her. And she doesn't know the difference other than what we've educated her on and why we didn't order the one that they actually have on the menu. So she's actually understanding that too. The next sweetener that I would say is second best would be xylitol. And xylitol is not going to be necessarily from a plant the way stevia is. Stevia, literally, if you've ever eaten a stevia leaf, it's very sweet. If you just were to chew on it, they grind it up, and that's how they make the product. Xylitol is more of an alcohol-derived sweetener. It's claimed to be a plant source of a sweetener, but the problem with xylitol especially is if you have pets, you don't want them anywhere near anything that had xylitol in it. We actually unfortunately lost my husband's parents actually lost their dog because she ate Maximize Living cookies that they had used xylitol in. She actually died from acute liver failure. So you definitely want to keep that away from your animals. Anything that you make with xylitol, you want to keep away from your animals. Their liver just doesn't have the same enzymes that we do to help break it down properly. So with that in mind, we don't use it very often anymore. However, it is, in my opinion, better than sugar. Better than some of these other natural sweeteners that you're going to find in the market. So just know that it will be harmful to animals. So on that note, that's all I have for you regarding sweeteners today. There was a question about whether or not you could drink coffee, and I know I addressed this in another video. But during the detox, coffee especially, we definitely want to stay away from, because it can tend to, it is a diuretic, so it's going to increase water loss. It's going to dehydrate us quicker. So we definitely want to increase our water consumption so that we can be mobilizing those toxins out of the body. So I would say stay away from coffee, even if it is organic, at least through the end of our detox here. So any other great questions that you might have, feel free to email me at Erin@MaximizeLivingSummit.com. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. We'll talk to you tomorrow.